Welcome to my channel where we cover the lore of Final Fantasy XIV. We cover the stories both big and small, the epic and the cute, the silly and the tragic. I hope you all enjoy the ride, and welcome to the Chronicler of Lore. After learning the truth about what the Exarch and Eorzea had done, the Warrior of Light gets started on trying to find a way to the Tempest, alone. However, the Scions catch up to you while you're trying to get an armor for your flight out there. Because of the glare you give to Eorzea, he realizes that you already figured out what he was coming to tell you. He's already told the others, and he doesn't make any excuses for what he's done. Whether you forgive him or not, he'll understand. But to be honest, being mad at him would be irrational. You got to see the entirety of what happened and why he made the decisions he made. He wasn't being malicious, he wasn't trying to hurt you, and he was right to keep it from you, which is something you can accept. But having any of the Scions around you is a danger to them now that you're one step away from becoming a Light Warden and either killing them or turning them. Regardless, Eorzea wants to stick with you to the end. Rean doesn't think you doing anything is a good idea. What she did to hold back the light is temporary, and when it breaks free, you will transform. She wants you to wait just a little while, and she promises that she'll find a cure, but Alisaie cuts her off because she doesn't want to hear any more lies. They've done everything they can and haven't gotten any closer to saving you. It really hurts her that after everything you've done for them, that the one time you needed them to save you, they all failed. So she plans on doing the one thing that she can, and that's dying by your side. And the rest of the Scions, including Rean, agree to do the same thing. Lena shows up right before you all leave with all of your friends from the city in tow. They're all eager to help now that she's told them that you're the Warrior of Darkness. Granted, it's not like they're dumb. The people suspected it the day the Exarch actually left the tower to greet you, and the fact that the night sky returned everywhere you went was another dead giveaway. There's no point in turning down the help, nor is there any reason to share your gloomy mood, so you tell them to defend the Crystarium until you bring the Exarch back home safely. As for your plan to fly an Amuro to the Tempest then swim down to Emet-Selch's fortress, Eorzea in so many words says that it was stupid, and just because you can breathe underwater doesn't mean you can swim forever. But he has a better solution, one that they found while trying to find a way to heal you. He breaks down what you need to do, and honestly, I don't think the Warrior of Light thought any of this through. You're headed to the ocean floor, but you need to be able to both breathe and fight without being hindered by the water. There's a Fae that has that type of power, although Eorzea hasn't met it yet. Instead of trying to explain it to you, he takes you all to an island, all the while reminding you that he can't swim at all, before pointing out that the island is the Fae, and it's Norvrant's version of Bismarck, the flying whale god of the Vanu Vanu. Eorzea wants it to take you all the way to the Tempest and push the water away with domes of air, like the ones under the Ruby Sea around Suino Sato and the city of the Ninja Turtles, the Kojin. Of course, things can't ever be simple, and Bismarck tells you that he doesn't really feel like taking you anywhere, and he's going back to sleep. But he's a Fae, and for once the Warrior of Light remembers to call Fail, who is super excited to finally get asked for help. Fail's also glad to see that you haven't given up on living yet, and being the king of the Fae, all it takes is a word, and Bismarck eagerly agrees to help you. The giant Fae dives into the water, nearly murdering some lumberyard workers with a giant tidal wave because they didn't think that a creature the size of a meteor slamming into the ocean would make the water move. Bismarck brings you to the ocean floor on a ride so rough that you all get knocked unconscious, but you wake in an area where the Fae push the water away so you can make your way to Emet-Selch at last. Of course, nobody thought to ask a very important question. Even if you win, how will you leave the Tempest? And no, your friends can't just click return to go home. Without ether rights to travel through, teleporting all willy-nilly makes you end up like Y'shtola. Of course, you have to survive for that to even matter. The Exarch and Emet are definitely down there somewhere. While Ascians can teleport into the rift between dimensions, they can't do it while carrying a hostage, not without that hostage dying. And since the Exarch's body is the key to the Crystal Tower, Emet wouldn't want to hurt his prize, so all you have to do is find them. Emet being a bit bougie, he's not likely to just be sitting out in open water, so you and the Scions start to search around to see if you can find some type of fortress fit to house an Ascian. While you're looking around, you spot a young Ondo who freaks out when he sees you and runs off, so naturally you all follow him. Alphinaud is surprised to see that the Ondo live down here, but he immediately steps into his role as a diplomat. But they're not all that happy that you remove the water, so unless you're the emissaries of the Ancient Ones, you can leave. Since you don't even know what they're talking about, that means you're not what they want. But they know the Ancient Ones are sending someone since they recently saw lights turn on in the depths. But they're not going to talk to you, so you all leave to come up with a plan. The Tempest is a big place, so if you could get the Ondo to help you, then it would make finding Emet-Selch a whole lot easier, especially since he's probably in whatever the place the Ondo claimed to see lights. Fortunately, what seemed like a lifetime ago, Alphinaud was working on trading with the Ondo, and he managed to strike up a deal with one despite their different customs, meaning that method could work again. Which means you all have to do chores for the Ondo. Y'shtola thinks working with the creatures might be the best plan because she has a strong feeling that the creatures have a deeper connection to the Ascians than you might think. She's going to study them while the others do random things to increase their reputation with the Ondo. Alphinaud actually finds the one Ondo he had done the deal with, and the creature gets you to deal with some crabs for his people. Normally they could outswim the things, but since the water's gone they can't outrun them anymore. The creatures are easy for you and Alphinaud to deal with, although the Ondo is surprised you were even able to break their shells. As a reward, he tells you a little bit about his people. Before the flood, their ancestral home was far to the south. The flood destroyed it, and the only people who survived were the Ondo who were out hunting at the time. They swam until they found weird buildings on the ocean floor that weren't damaged by the passage of time or the underwater current. The buildings gave the Ondo a safe place to live, away from the predators of the Tempest and the dangerous waters. The first Ondo to find the place thought they had been guided by the gods to the city because the only people who could have built the indestructible buildings had to be gods, and they had led the Ondo there to be the caretakers of their land until they returned. Which means if the Ondo start to believe the ancients sent you, then they'll start to treat you like royalty, which basically means keep helping them to prove your worth and they'll warm up to you. When you tell Y'shtola what you learned, she's super excited because it adds to her own research. She has a theory that she wants you to help her test about some of the buildings that are scattered around the area. The things are old, far older than the Ronkan ruins, but even with a sharp blade you can't even scratch the walls. Even with Y'shtola's eyes, she can't determine what the buildings are made of, and she's starting to think that the reason Emet-Selch came here is because the place is his hometown. His actual hometown from before the Sundering. Some of the structures from the original world may have survived, and when you find one that was painted on the walls of the Ronkan ruins, it's the final bit of confirmation that you need. The buildings are part of a city that the Ascians lived in before the war between Hydaelyn and Zodiac destroyed them. But while you know Emet is down there, you still need the Ondo to point you in the right direction, so you go to find out what more you can do to help build trust with the natives. The Ondo had planned on lighting up their walls as a return signal to let the one who lit the light in the distance know that they're there. They have a surface dweller craftsman who lives down there who's supposed to be making something that can glow brightly enough to light up the wall, but they haven't heard from him. If you go and get their lamp, then there will be no doubts that you're there to help them. The smith's name is Grindold, and his shop is to the south, so you head off. When you see the guy, minus the hair, he literally looks and acts exactly like your Geralt. The man had gone to the depths of the ocean to focus on his craft without distractions. I'm assuming one of those distractions was breathing because until recently there was water everywhere. But not only has he not been able to relax, he has no inspiration. Which is why he hasn't even started on the Ondo's lamp. He needs something to use as a guide to help him create something that gives off the right kind of special light the Ondo want. Something with the spark of life, caught in a crystal that dances with the emotions of its former bearer. That's oddly specific, and you just so happen to have the crystals from the fallen cardinal virtues, which you got in some stories that I've covered on this channel that you can go and check out. The crystal is exactly what he needs to get to work, and his ideas start to flow. Then he starts crafting. It doesn't take long for the man to make something really impressive, but even he doesn't know what the buildings the Ondo live in are made of. You take the lamp to the Ondo, although there's no way you should have been able to lift that thing, but showing up with it is all the proof the Ondo need to believe that you are the emissaries of the ancients. They take the lamp to offer their prayers at the Wall of the Forgotten and promise to tell you anything you want once they're done. While you wait, Ardbert shows up and he wants to know if the crystal you showed Grindold came from one of his friends. Despite the fact that he pops up at will, he did give you some privacy and he wants to know where you got the crystals. So you tell him of your hunts for the cardinal virtues. Hearing how you granted his friends peace after their deaths makes him even more glad to be there with you. After your talk, the Scions show up, and it seems like Y'shtola's filled them in about the place being an Ascian homeland. which pretty much removes all doubt that Emet-Selch was telling you the truth about the world, the Sundering, and his reasons for wanting the rejoining. Alice thinks the dream of rejoining the world is pointless because it won't bring back the people that Emet lost, but she doesn't know if she wouldn't be doing the same thing if she were him. She's also wrong, at least to some extent. The unsundered Ascians can actually restore the memories of other Ascians, so rejoining the worlds and the souls of the people, then putting their memories back, would bring them back to who they were. I'm also pretty certain that's what Emet had planned for you once you showed up to the Tempest on the verge of death. The Ondo finished their ritual and are more than willing to point you in the direction of the illuminated land, which is in fact an entire underwater city. But it's not a city like any you've ever seen. Ether flows through every building and structure because the entire place was created by a spell that Emet cast. So now you and the Scions head into the underwater city to face down the Ascian who made the entire place with his mind. And that's where we're going to stop for today. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and ding that notification bell. And if you want to buy me a coffee for my work, sign up to become a member of the channel. Until next time, guys. Later.